Residual land value, which is what is left over for the value of the land after all the costs have been paid out from the sale value, and the development profit, which is basically, in essence, is sales minus all the different costs. So watch this video till the end, and we will discuss two different examples, one in land development and how you can use residual land value and profit to make sure that you're not paying more value for the land than what it is worth. So let's look at the land development example. So we've got a land, let's say it's $10 million worth. Whoops, give me 1 second. Okay, so it's $10 million worth, and we bought that, and we can put 40 different lots on it. And the average area, well, forget the average area because we are going by the cost per unit, or let's say it's going to cost us $50,000 to get all the services to the site for 40 different lots, which basically gives us about, with 5% contingency, gives us about $52,500 for that. And once it's there, we can sell it for $450,000 just for the land with all the services connected. That gives us a development margin of 25% on all the different costs that we have to incur to do it. But at that rate, we make about $90,000 profit per lot. And this section is for per lot, and this section right here is for the entire project. So if we were to look at this and work out what should I pay for this block of land so that I make at least 20% on my cost, then it tells us that for the residual value of land, that gives us 10.5 million. So what it essentially means is that if I want to make 20% on the cost, I can still afford to pay 10.5 million for the land value. Now this is important, especially in auctions, in when you are trying to figure out, obviously you want to, instead of 20%, you want to make 25%. But if, let's say, this is your real bottom price and you want to make sure that, that's the bare minimum, it's called MARR, which is the minimum acceptable rate of return. So, which is it's also known as the hurdle rate. So if I was to change this, for example, let's just change this. Right now, for example, we look at this and we know that at 20%, I can still afford to pay 10.5 million for this block of land. So if we've got, if I change this value to, let's say, 10,586,273, you'll see that my development profit is going to come very close to the 20% mark right here. So so this is what it tells me. So that this is what I can afford to pay for this block of land based on the assumptions that I have made, based on the highest best possible use for the site. Let's look at another example for a townhouse development. You can do the same thing. If a site already has a permit, or that for sure that it can do 4 townhouses on it or 6 townhouses, or whatever it is, you can use residual value of land to be able to figure out what is the maximum price that you should pay for this site based on its development potential. Now, a lot of people in a growing market would go and pay more, thinking that by the time we are ready for selling, the market would have gone up. Now, this is not a good way to do development, because you need to pay what it is worth in today's time. So in this example, this is a townhouse development. We are looking at $1 million that we are paying for the block of land, and this has GST in it because GST is a part of the cost. But that's why I did the other example for land development. I did it without the GST because there are people where GST isn't applicable. So here we've got GST that is applicable. So in here we can put 4 townhouses on this block of land for which we are ready to pay $1 million. And based on the cost and everything, here we are going by the square meter rate for construction, or the square feet rate. And I know on an average, they will be about 165 built area, and I'll be paying $1,800 per square meter for the construction of it, and things like that. So, and at the end of it, I'll be able to sell each townhouse for $850,000. That gives me a total sale value of 3.4 mil. And then I've allowed for some consultants and council contributions and construction. Like this is called 1 minute feasible. This is what I use all the time to be able to figure out whether or not a project has any legs, and we can do all sorts of different kind of developments just to see whether or not I need to spend more time to investigate further, or if this has legs. Like for example, in this example, it shows 27.2% development margin, which is pretty good. But I want to figure out that, this is what, it'll never sell at this because it's a smaller size project. There will be a lot of competition in the market trying to get the same site because they know that it has $727,000 as profit in the project. So people would be bidding, and the vendor would get so many different offers based on that. So what makes you decide that whatever offer that you are giving in is probably the best? There's no such thing, but what you can do for your assumptions and your mental satisfaction that you are not paying more for something than it is worth is by doing the residual land value calculation, and that way that, okay, I want to make at least 20% on all the costs, otherwise it's not worth it. And that gives me that if I pay 1.1 million for the land, I should still be able to make 20% development margin for this. So you'll see that as soon as I start increasing the value of the land, this will start going up. So let's increase that by another 50,000, and it will start decreasing, and it will come very close to the 20% mark. That if I pay 1.150, so that should be my maximum offer based on what I know for sure that I'll be able to sell them for. So for this, you need to really know the market. So if you know that 850, yeah, you can do that. You can easily achieve that, or this is the higher end of the value that you can achieve. So put in the value that is, medium to a little bit higher. That way you don't get outbid by other people who are willing to pay more for the block of land. So the larger the project, the less people will be trying to secure the site, and you want to make sure that you can get your foot in the door and have the right value there that you offer to buy the site, and also make at the same time not pay too much for the site. So in the same example, if I ended up paying, I don't know, I got into an auction and I end up paying 1.5 million for the site, you'll see that my development margin is going to fall down to about 6.3%, which is nothing. That means I'm only making $50,000 profit per townhouse, and I have to take all this risk. I have to borrow all this money to only make 50 or 200,000 in this entire project. Now this is very slim because something goes wrong, COVID hit, and things get stalled. You'll be paying a lot of interest, and this 6.3% will evaporate really quick, and you'll probably end up with a loss. So that is why it is important, because the construction costs will probably remain the same. They are not going anywhere because this is exactly what it costs. It's a replacement cost for something. If I was to build a new house in this location right now, this is the dollar value that I have to pay. I mean, all things being equal, unless I'm overcapitalizing the site or adding in a lot of high-end appliances, or giving it a very luxury finish. All things being equal, I have to, that construction cost is going to be there. It's not going to fluctuate very much. What is going to determine that you're paying the right price for the land is what you've allowed for at the end value and what you've allowed for in the value of the land, or what you paid for that. Because as soon as this goes up, it'll start putting pressure on all of these things. If I don't change anything, and I just go in here and I again make sure that I'm paying the right price for this thing, I can see what I'm going to make here in this project. I can even say, oh look, this is relatively easier project to do. It's only 4 townhouses. I can handle this, no problem at all. So I'm quite happy with a 15% development margin, and changing that would basically give me extra 170,000 that I can pay to secure the site. So that means that I can pay another 1270 and still make the 15%. So let's change that to 270 and see what our development margin is going to be. So it comes to about exact 15%. So if I pay this price, I will be making 15% still, considering all my cost assumptions are correct. So there's a big difference. They are not the same. Residual value of land residual value of land, RVL, is not the same as profit. Profit is simply sales minus cost. This is what you get as your profit. Whereas the residual value of land is used to determine, is a valuation tool to figure out, based on the highest, best use of the site and its development potential, this is the maximum amount of money that I need to pay. Now, this is not used just for land. It is used for lots of all kinds of developments, not just land. So for land, yes, it is called residual value of land. But even when you're developing something, whether it's apartments or something, and you're paying something for the value of land, let's say you buy land for 20 mil and you can now put 20 different apartments on there. What's the value of land for each apartment? That's a mil for each apartment. So you need to understand that it is not just used in land development, it's also used everywhere else in any kind of development. In land development, it's a lot easier, but it is used everywhere. In fact, there's another method to do this. It is also called PRSV, which is known for project related site value. However, this is one of those valuations that your lender would commission, so that you have to go to a valuer who would then come in and for PRSV to occur, or your lender to basically get a higher valuer to come and value the site. It stands for project related site value. So PRSV is project related site value, and this can only happen if you have a permit in place or the development approval. So either you have an approval in place to build an apartment building over here, and you can put all different apartments in the building. That means you have a DA or a development approval in place, or in other parts of the world is known as the permitting process. So once the permit is in place, then a project related site value is the term used, but they do exactly the same. Their calculation method is more or less the same. But countries where you've got GST and VAT as taxes, they strip all of these things out before they come up with the residual land value. You can give this 1 minute free a spin. You can sign up for a free trial and go with it. It's a tool that I've developed over the years, and it only takes a minute to do a feasibility on any kind of project and be able to figure out that, this is the maximum I should pay for this site going forward. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It helps me keep creating more videos. Thanks very much.